Okay, in my first video, what I thought I'd start with is passing on some of maybe the great things that my father, Ed O'Boyle, your grandfather, gave to me um, that unfortunately you weren't able to meet him and get from him directly because obviously he passed away way back in 2001. But he was a great guy. He was my mentor, he was my best friend, confidant, business partner for a while, you name it. Even though he only was around for pretty much 24 years of my life, very influential in my life. I've always said if I could be half the man that I considered him to be, I would consider my life successful. So I think it's important to know some of his background, though. You may have heard some of this, but I want you to also have it in video here. So, Ed O'Boyle, he was born in Massachusetts way back in 1930, and he was one of nine. He left home at the age of 18 with him and three of his best friends with the idea that they were just going to make it for California. Somewhere I've got an old photo of the day they left, sitting on an old Model T, black and white photo, getting ready to head out. I love that photo. But what I really love about it is I love the adventurous spirit and go-getter mentality that those young guys had. So they left, not much of a plan, not lots of money. Matter of fact, they only got as far as, I want to say, Idaho, before they ran out of money, and they're sitting in a restaurant that had a bulletin board, and on that bulletin board the United States Forest Service had posted a notice of hiring, and basically they were looking for people to go out and do forest management for the summer. And so they didn't have any money, they took the job, and my dad used to say it sort of changed his life. He fell in love with the mountains, he fell in love with the wilderness. And they were just way out in the boondocks, I don't know, doing whatever the Forest Service wanted them to do, living in tents, living off the grid, you name it. And when the season ended and they got paid, they came out of the forest. All the guys kind of split up from there. Dad ended up working for a trucking company in Nebraska. I want to say North Platte, Nebraska. I think at that point he met what would become his first wife, Eileen, and I think the first time he ever had much to do with a woman, he ended up getting her pregnant with my oldest sister, and he was an 18-year-old kid. 18-year-old kid, married her, sitting in the delivery hospital, waiting for my sister to be born, and happened to read a magazine article about this new up-and-coming thing out of Florida that was called NASCAR, and it was putting on races and all this. And my dad was just a go-getter. He never said, I don't think I should be doing this, or I can't do it. If he had interest, he went for it. He passed that on to me, and I hope he'd pass it on to you. So he just reached out to him at some point at 18, called him up, said he wanted to get involved, and they had the bright idea of making this 18-year-old kid the NASCAR Midwest representative. He had no idea what he was getting into. He had nothing about racing, and they said, okay, well, that's fine, we'll teach you. And he said, here's what you do. You go to a county fairgrounds, and you say you want to run a race, and you promote it, and you do all these different things, and you just go for it. And they gave him the backing. They did it. He did everything the way they told him, except for they forgot to tell him one thing, because the fairgrounds were basically dirt ovals, and they forgot to tell him that it's a good idea to have a water truck wet the dirt before the race. So the flag drops, the race goes, huge dust cloud plume all over the racetrack, cars are crashing into each other and wrecking, and he's sitting there going, oh my God, I can't believe this, I'm ruined, I'm completely ruined. You know, the race ends, hardly any cars are left, everybody leaves. He reaches out to NASCAR and he says, hey, here's what went on. And they're like, well, hey, okay, yeah, wet the track next time, but give it one more week. do it one more time. And he's like, I don't think anybody's going to want to see this. And he did it one more week, promoted it, and it was sold out. Obviously, he underestimated people's joy when it comes to carnage with cars. And so he sold it out, and kind of, sort of the rest was history for NASCAR. He started running races all over the Midwest. I know he promoted one even in Soldier Field in Chicago, but all over fairgrounds, all over the Midwest. The Daytona 500, which everybody's familiar with today, back then in the late 40s, early 50s, they were running on the beach, and he would go down there and he would announce one of the corners and stuff like that. Anyway, it was successful until he eventually moved on to some other things, which maybe I'll get to into another video. But he was ultimately, late in his life, he was inducted into the Nebraska Auto Racing Hall of Fame as a promoter, one of the only ones to ever do that. He was never a driver and stuff like that, but very adventurous young man lifestyle, a young person lifestyle. And he imparted that, I think, to me. I didn't get into the racing world or anything like that, but I got into business really young. I've had a lot of different successes in my life. And I think that was because he was always encouraging me and saying, if you have an interest or you have a belief that you can do something, get out there and go for it. And more than anything else, I hope I can impart that to you guys. You're going to have moments in your life where you feel down, or you feel like, things aren't going your way. But remember, right, step into action, make a plan, and just go for it. Even though a dust cloud blooms up and things might not go right or not go how you're expecting them to go, just keep going. Just keep going. Have those failures, but just keep going. Eventually, things will turn around and you will succeed. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you. Dad.